So I think we're now live, Becky. Welcome everyone who is joining us today on this LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live. We're doing a Learn at Lunchtime. And this is hot off Becky and Harry being at the Building Brands Conference in Exeter. Shout out to Dave Briggs for doing a brilliant job. And you did a fantastic talk. Becky, introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what the talk is that you're going to be doing.
Hi everyone. Yes, so I'm going to be talking about 8 things you need to know about advertising going into 2024. And today I'm going to talk about 4 things. And then Harry, my colleague, is going to talk about the final 4 things and moving on. But my focus is very much going to be on social commerce. So I'm going to talk about a bit about the social commerce industry, talk a bit about Pinterest because I think it's a really untapped platform and I really love it for advertising. We'll talk a bit about Meta and Instagram, and then going to give you a bit of some tips for peak as we're in it right now.
Brilliant. And Becky, tell us who you are at Launch.
So I'm Becky. I'm the head of performance creative at Launch, and I think a lot of people think that means I'm a designer. I'm not. I look after the paid social team, but as we know, paid social is very much about the creative. So I just make sure that one, we're doing the best we can in the platforms, but also the creative is as good as it can be as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Becky. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jay. I'm the founder of Launch. This is my first time doing a proper LinkedIn Live where I'm driving it. So please excuse me if I get anything wrong. Don't forget that we should be able to see the comments below. So if you've got any questions, if you are joining us live, rather than on watchback, please do put questions in the comments so that I can take a look. We'll be able to come to the questions at the end. And like Becky said, this is part 1 of 2. Hopefully we're going to next Friday have Harry on. And these are really great tips live from people who are at the heart of our advertising, working with our clients and really maximizing this peak. So, Becky, I'm going to add your slides to the stage. Do take it away.
Perfect. Brilliant. So bear with me, everyone. I've got 2 screens and I might get a bit lost between the screens at some point. So just the agenda. So yeah, we'll talk about social commerce and why you really can't be ignoring it. We'll talk about Pinterest for e-commerce because I think it's a really great platform to watch. We'll talk about awareness and consideration as we're going into peak. We're in peak now, but hopefully there's a few tips you can kind of take on board. And then we're going to talk about beta typing creative. And that's a bit about putting science into your creative. So yeah, let's get cracking. So social commerce, 6.2 trillion. That's the amount that social commerce is expected to reach by 2030. That is a huge number. I can't quite even begin to imagine it. And there's also really scary stat. And I read it and it was like 95% or 90% of all purchases are going to be through e-commerce by 2040, which I thought was absolutely petrifying. And kind of hope it isn't going to be the case because I love the high street. But this just shows you how crazy social commerce has gone and how it's grown, and it's kind of really important for brands. And nearly 6 out of 10 consumers say, they've purchased something after seeing it on a social network. And, if you're an advertiser in the room, you'll know it can be really difficult to attribute purchases back to a social channel, but it is such an important social channel. So if you're a brand or a company and you haven't quite got your social commerce strategy implemented or devised yet, I'd really recommend you kind of really start looking at it, because these are the kind of the platforms. Now, there's no surprises there really with Facebook and Instagram. They're like the OGs of the social commerce. TikTok, we knew that went crazy in lockdown. They've got their TikTok shop. They've just launched in the US, haven't they? They're where you can buy directly from TikTok. And a lot of advertisers I speak to say, oh, but our clients, they're not on TikTok. It's younger. I mean, I'm 38 now, and I've bought a lot of beauty products from TikTok. So it's not just the really young people that their demographic is going to be on it, and they're really investing in their platform as well. So if you think TikTok isn't for you, just like kind of reconsidering it. We're seeing great performance for clients on TikTok. But the one I really want to focus on in today, is Pinterest, because we're seeing really, really fantastic results for our clients. And when I was at Building Brands a couple of days ago, this was kind of a hands up exercise. But what we did is we said, hands up in the room, who is on Facebook and who's on Instagram, and you put your hands up, and then you say, who feels social pressure on those platforms? And the majority of people, they keep their hands up. And then you say, right, who has a Pinterest account? And people put their hands up, and you say, who feels social pressure on Pinterest? And all the hands go down. Pinterest is a very different platform. And I'm really sorry this video isn't playing because I think the file size is too large. Pinterest, people go to Pinterest to search for something or to find ideas on something. They haven't gone to a social platform to mindlessly scroll through their newsfeed. They've gone there for a reason. So the scroll speeds are much, much slower. It's a nice platform. You're not kind of competing for like how many likes you have. It's really about it's an inspirational platform. And shopping is one of the main reasons that people come to Pinterest in the first place. So if you're a merchant or a creator or a brand and you have products to sell, Pinterest is a really, really great platform. And this, I think, is a really, really interesting stat for advertisers. So on the platform, 97% of the top searches are unbranded. What does that mean? So let's look at Meta Facebook targeting. You have your interest-based targeting, you have the broad targeting, you can upload like your customer lists and lookalikes, but you can't add keywords. Pinterest, you can add in the keywords that people are searching for around your product. Now you can do that keyword research yourself. If you have a Pinterest account strategist, they can help you with that keyword research. So the advertising becomes a lot more intent. It becomes much more less intrusive. You're not on Facebook scrolling through and then you're just getting bombarded with ads that sometimes are relevant, sometimes not relevant. With Pinterest, they're much more relevant because they can be based on those keywords you're searching for. And it's also really inclusive. I love this. Just like last week, I was searching for some new blonde kind of cuts and hairstyles, and you'll see like the hair type technology example here: curly hair, wavy hair, what type of hair have you got? And I actually usually have quite wavy hair, but I thought for today I won't look like Monica from Friends with my hair out. But the point is, I clicked on it and then I was scrolling through ideas and I came across an ad, and it was specific for blonde hair around curls and waves. And I read more a bit about it, and I actually ended up purchasing it. But that advert was not intrusive. It was relevant to what I was searching for. And 80% of weekly pinners have discovered a new brand or product on Pinterest because of this. So again, really, really consider it. This takes a while to load, but I'll just talk about it. So like I said, they're really investing in their advertising platform. Engagement with shoppable content's up 50% year on year. These are just some examples of some of the ads you can have. It's really, really fantastic. So I honestly really recommend considering it. It's a platform where it's not intrusive. People on there have intent, they discover things. They've got some really cool new features that are coming out. One of them's this kind of collage thing where you can create a collage as a user and it'll cut out the products you like, and you can kind of put it in one image and it'll tag them as like shopping things. Really, really great. I love it. But it's also a full funnel solution. So again, advertisers go, well, I like Pinterest, but we really need the sales at the moment. And it's more of an awareness platform, isn't it? Not at all. Not at all. So it's also great for awareness, but it's great for sales. The left-hand side, again, isn't playing, but that's my lamp in my lounge. And on Pinterest, you can open it and you can take a video or a photo and it will scan that product. So for example, the lamp here, it'll then search on Pinterest for other lamps like it. So it'll come in the feed, and then it'll also find the shoppable kind of merchant. So then you can also shop lamps like it on the platform. I'm getting married next year. Pinterest knows this. So again, on my home feed, it's like, wedding shoes, Becky. And I'm like, great, you've got ones below which are kind of, different styles, cowboy boots, women wearing cowboy boots with like their dresses. I'm like, oh, that's a cool idea. So all these ideas. But at the top, we've got the feed of the sponsored posts, and they're not intrusive. I scrolled along, I was like, ooh, I like those next ones. Clicked on the ad, straight through to the next website. Really easy to buy. So it's a full funnel solution, straight from, looking at things, inspiring, right through to buying. Really, really great. And this is also a fantastic stat. So in the talk the other day, we got asked a lot about the demographics of people on Pinterest. They tend to have higher income brackets. So they outspend people on other platforms by 40% a month, which is really fantastic. And they buy more. So they have 30% larger baskets at checkout, which is, again, another great reason for kind of those e-commerce brands to get on Pinterest. One of our clients, they're having great success on Pinterest, but also the added bonus is it's driving higher branded searches off the platform. So yes, they're seeing great results from Pinterest and people are buying from Pinterest, but it's having a huge impact on their brand off the platform as well. So it's that kind of two-pronged approach. You've got the awareness side of it as well. So really, really, really interesting. And finally, just to finish off, we have some really great support from the guys at Pinterest. I really can't recommend them enough. They're really helpful. They help with media plans, keyword research, trends, really, really helpful. So yeah, they're really great. I promise I don't work for them. probably think I'm on commission, but I'm not. So the third thing I want to talk today about is the pressure to prove your investment on advertising is going to increase into 2024. It's increasing now. We're in a cost of living crisis. As marketers, we really need to prove it works. And 80% of people in the UK, they're going to make significant changes to the products, the brands they buy as the prices go up. So as a brand, as like a marketer, what can you do? And the key thing, it's about having a full funnel strategy in place. This will keep your costs lower. So for example, awareness campaigns. They are the cheapest type of campaigns you could do on Pinterest, TikTok, Meta, Instagram. It's eyes on ad, it's introducing your brand, and we'll go through an example in a second. We've then got that consideration phase. Okay, they're starting to think about you. Drive them to your website, get them looking around your products. And then that action, you can retarget all those lovely people in that upper funnel with your ads. And by doing this three-pronged approach, it'll mean your costs are going to be so much lower than just trying to go after that action. If you're just going after people ready to buy, it's so much more expensive, especially this time of year. So this time of year, holiday shoppers, they are open to trying new brands. So get out there. This is a really great time to kind of test this strategy. So Sophie, I'll put one of my clients. So for example, discovery, brand awareness. This is a Facebook ad. This opens up to a kind of online brochure kind of thing. We're not asking people to buy yet. This is just eyes on ad. We're introducing who they are. We then got to decide the traffic. Okay, this is a video, but it's not playing, but it's a video of their Christmas stag collection. And we're starting to drive them to the website, driving them to those collection pages. And then the conversion. We're retargeting all these lovely people that have been in the decide and the traffic and the brand awareness section with these retargeting ads. And just as a little tip, actually, on Meta, you can upload these borders, as you can see in this last one, the do. You can actually upload borders to your DPA, your shopping ads. You can have like Pay with Klarna. You could have, like they've done here, Discover Our Christmas Stags collection. You can have borders to make them pop in the newsfeed. But if you have this three-pronged approach, your overall CPAs will be lower, your ROAS is going to be higher. So just don't go after that bottom funnel the whole time, because you're going to run out of people and your costs are going to be much, much higher. So I've got a couple of peak tips. If you're a bit late to the party, we're in peak now. So I'll go for these slides, and if you can implement it, get on it. First one is buzzword, consideration fortnight. We are in this right now. People are considering what to buy. I have got a list of so many things I want to buy for Black Friday. I am not buying yet because I know the prices are going to go down. So don't panic. if you're seeing your sales a little bit slower at the moment, people are just considering what to buy. So don't panic and don't pull the budgets back. Make sure you have budget in this traffic piece. Make sure your budget is in these consideration campaigns. It's really, really, really important. People just going to the website at the moment. They're looking at what to buy. They're not sure. Have your money in this area, because in a couple of weeks, all those people you're showing to now, you'll be top of mind for them. They'll go, that brand. If you're not here now, your competitors are going to be here. So make sure you have budget in these consideration campaigns right now over these next 2 weeks. The second thing is Forgotten Friday, another great buzzword. So this is the Friday before Black Friday. And people get FOMO and they go, I really want that, but what if the size runs out next week? I'm just going to buy it now. And it's the highest converting day on Meta outside of peak. So again, don't save all your budget for your conversion campaigns for the Black Friday. Make sure you have enough in that pre-Black Friday. One of our clients, their pre-Black Friday, this is a tongue twister, was the better performing day than the actual Black Friday. So make sure you have budget here, another really important tip. And just again, these are stats from Meta, but I think it's pretty similar across kind of the other social platforms. By having these consideration and awareness campaigns, your overall incremental cost per conversion is going to be lower. So really, really important. And we'll send this kind of presentation around, and I think this is recorded so you can see these stats. And the final bit I want to go through is about creative. I mean, I love this quote. So creative without strategy is called art, and creative with strategy is called advertising. I think this is great because it's obvious, right? Of course it is. They're creative platforms, but it's amazing how many companies I'll speak to, and they're putting so much effort into their targeting and this and that, and then you're brilliant creative, and they're like, yeah, Jeff will just mock one up for you quickly. And you're like, no, we need to put some thought and some love in our creative because it's really important. And I'm just going to show you a diagram of why it's important. And this is from Meta. This is how the ad auction works in Meta. It's not highest bidder wins. Yes, you've got your advertiser bids, but then you've got your estimated action rates. This is the likelihood Facebook thinks you're going to get a result for that impression, okay? Plus how it thinks your kind of creative is, like what signals it's getting about creative. Is it clickbait? Is it good quality image? How are people interacting with it? That determines the total value of your ad. So it's not like Google, it's not, the highest bidder wins. If your competitor has a better image than you, but they might be paying less, they might win the auction. Okay, so this is why the creative is really important. It's not highest bidder wins, it's best creative wins. And so just a little quote for you is that, so good creative increases the total value of an ad, while poor creative decreases it. The next thing you're going to go is, well, what makes a good creative? And this is a system we have in place called beta typing. Because what makes a good creative for one company might not be a good creative for another company. So let's just talk through an example. Let's say I'm a clothing company and I've got my new range of fleeces out. I want to know what image to use. We've got all these lifestyle images and we've got some kind of studio images. So I'm going to say, I think my hypothesis is going to be, I think a lifestyle image is going to perform better than a studio image. That's our ask. That's our question. We'll then make those images. So we'll have the studio image and we'll have the lifestyle image. We'll make them live, we'll test them against each other. We'll learn. Let's say the lifestyle image then did perform better. So we know that. So okay, we're gonna move forward with the lifestyle image. How can we then adapt that lifestyle image to make it even better? So my next ask might be, I think text overlay on lifestyle images is going to perform better than lifestyle images with no text overlay. And you go through the process again. And this is like how to add that little bit of science in your creative, because every company is different. So what works for one brand might not work for another brand. So it's just about adding that little bit of science into your creative. It's no longer about video versus image and carousel versus image. And there's so many different trends out there, and it's a constant kind of research and testing. It's constant. So when we get asked what makes a good creative, it's like, well, it's different for every brand, but make sure you're putting some tests in, you're kind of putting some proper structure into your testing to get the best out of them. So just to summarize what I've gone through today is social commerce. It's going to be huge. If you're a brand and you're kind of not on it yet, look at those numbers, get a strategy in place. Don't ignore Pinterest. It's a really great platform. They're growing it all the time and they're super helpful. Awareness and consideration is key. If you're not doing campaigns in those kind of areas now, get on it, because your overcross will be lower for Black Friday. And if you're not putting effort into that creative, you might as well forget it, because they are creative platforms. You need to be there. So make sure you're there. And that is me. Thanks, Jay.
Wowie, Becky, that was awesome. That was definitely a whistle-stop tour. Super interesting. And we have got a question, which if I do this, I think I can, look at that, put it on the stage. Gosh, I'm going to get a pro at this. So the question is, can Pinterest work for non-retail brands, specifically B2B advertisers? What do you think?
So I had this question at Building Brands, and if a B2B brand came to me, it's not the first platform I'd choose. I would choose LinkedIn. However, again, they are investing more and more into their different verticals. So what you can do is they're really helpful at Pinterest, and they have lots of resources on their website, and you should be able to find some case studies for B2B on there. So that's what I'd recommend as a first stop. See what case studies they have there, and they'll have like volumes by target market and things. So that's what I'd recommend. Yeah.
I think in our recent talk, which, by the way, I will put the link below to for people who want to watch Mairead Connolly from Pinterest, who did a fantastic talk at our recent Bristol event, really deep diving into Pinterest. One of the things that she talked about in the panel sessions was the trends tool. How are people using that this peak?
Yeah, so Pinterest have a trends tool on the platform, and essentially is what it is. You can see what's trending, and they also have Pinterest predicts, and they predict what's going to happen next year, and they're scarily right a lot of the time. You think of all the data they have, but yeah, I'd recommend using it. You can see what people are searching for right now, the keywords they're looking at, what's trending at the moment. It's really, really useful.
I've got another great question, which I think if I do this, there we go. Thank you, Sophie, for asking. Gosh, I'm going to be nailing this soon. So I know that at launch, we focus all our energy on the paid media side, the advertising side, some conversion rate optimization and the measurement of that. But obviously, our wider advertisers are using influencers. Being a past influencer yourself, talk to me a little bit about where you're sat with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to be influenced myself. I used to do it on paddleboarding. So I worked with some amazing brands. I worked with Roxy and Mission Tires. I worked with some awesome brands. And I think done right, it can be really, really good. So I mentioned earlier about TikTok, and all the things I've purchased is because I've been influenced by someone talking about it. So I think it's a really, really valuable if it's done right. You've just got to get the right people for your product. But I people like buying off people, but it's making sure that person has that trust with your target market, because you can tell quite easily when people aren't passionate about something they're trying to sell. So yeah,
I almost think that the accidental influencer is more powerful, where they're talking about a product that they love. They haven't actually been sponsored, and then they end up forming a bit of a partnership. I can't remember her name. I don't know, Maddie on TikTok. So, we're all disclosing our ages at the moment. Maybe I won't disclose mine, but I am not considered what you would say. I'm certainly not a Gen Z, put it that way. But people would say, oh, I'm not on TikTok, the age that I am as a consumer. I've bought more off TikTok and a little bit off Instagram than I have on the high street in the last 12 months. I've spent more. And Maddie loved L'Occitane, is that how you pronounce it? L'Occitane. And she started talking about them. And now, obviously, they've got a bit of an influencer partnership going, but it came from passion. It came because she loved the product. And that, to me, is that power. Where I think it's important to get it right is where you've got an influencer strategy, but then also a paid media strategy, and making sure that the two work hand in hand. And I don't see that many good examples of that. Do you?
No, and you can sponsor that. So I worked with a brand a couple of years ago, and they would sponsor my post in their business manager, and it just excelled the reach. So again, I don't think enough brands use paid and influencer posts together. We do it for a couple of our companies, and they work really well. So I'd recommend it.
We love working with other agencies. So if there are any influencer agencies, and we love working with specialists watching this LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live, do get in touch because we collaborate all of the time. I've got a lovely comment here that I just wanted to show you, Becky, from Rosetta. Thank you so much, Rosetta. And Sophie also appreciates your question answered. I really want to do more of these, make it like a Friday thing. The experience, Becky, that you bring to our clients and also to that wider audience at Building Brands and now on this LinkedIn Live, I think is super valuable. Those insights are live, like right now. People can take, advertisers and brands can take advantage of them and really lean into it this peak, even if they're only testing the water on some of the stuff to learn from next peak. I'm going to end by saying, because I think we've got a couple of minutes left, of those 4 tips, what are you seeing the best results from at the moment? How many weeks are we away from Black Friday? About 3 or 4 weeks away. What are you seeing working right now?
Well, I mean, 50% of my clients, they've gone live. They've gone live with Black Friday.
With their Black Friday creatives and their messaging.
Yeah. So the key, and all my clients will be like, I was talking about it again, but it is make sure you have that budget in that awareness and that consideration phase. And I get it. I've worked in-house. It's really hard to sell it into that CEO that just wants the conversion campaigns, but they need to understand, but all those traffic awareness campaigns are fueling that sales, and it might not show in a week or 2 weeks. It depends on your sales cycle, or like travel can be like 6 months down the line. But you need to work out what is your buying cycle and work out the impact of those traffic and awareness campaigns and what they're doing to those sales. It is really important because you just keep going after that bottom funnel, you're going to limit yourself. So all advertisers where we've introduced consideration and awareness campaigns, they have exceeded ROAS targets. So yeah, that's my biggest takeout. Make sure you introduce that.
That delicate balance of where is it brand and where is it performance, and definitely those two things are merging more than we've ever seen before, and really making sure that in this kind of economy of digital inflation where paid media costs more than ever before probably to advertise, certainly from a cost per click point of view, that if you haven't got some of those people at the top of the funnel, then hanging out in the bottom of the funnel is just not going to be enough this Black Friday. Thank you everyone for your comments, and thank you all of you who are watching this live, and those of you who aren't watching live and watching it recorded, please feel free to drop into our DMs, ask questions, and perhaps we can make this if you ask some more questions, we can have another session in another couple of Fridays to do a follow-up, do some live from the action peak reporting. Becky, that was awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
I'm going to do the wave.